Have you ever walked into a room and felt invisible? No one looked up, no one noticed, no one held back, and you didn't understand why. You weren't weak. You didn't do anything wrong, but even when you spoke correctly, acted rightly, and did everything right, you still weren't respected. Then there are others who only need to enter, and without saying a word, the whole room falls silent. They're not tall, not aggressive, not trying to prove anything, but they possess something you don't, a presence that cannot be dismissed. In the modern world, where people believe respect must be demanded through noise, there is another way, deeper and quieter. Stoicism made it clear. Before you speak, learn to embody what you wish to communicate. Before your mouth opens, your body has already spoken. This video doesn't teach you how to appear powerful. It reveals 6 silent body language habits that let you command attention without a word. This isn't a technique for manipulation. It's the art of presence, and those who are truly present are never disregarded. 1. Slow is strong. There's something few people notice. Your pace is your true essence. Others don't judge you by your words, but by the speed at which you speak. Not by the actions you take, but by the way you perform them. Not by the intelligence you display, but by the silence you dare to hold between your sentences. And in most cases, people don't reject you because you're not good enough. They reject you because you move too fast, speak too hastily, react too quickly. All of it sends the same invisible signal. I'm anxious, and no one respects a person who cannot control themselves. Stoicism doesn't speak much about speed, but it speaks endlessly about self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." If applied to behavior, that becomes, you have power over your own pace, not the speed of the world. When you move too fast, you are letting the external world steer you. A crowded calendar, rushed glances, social expectations all push you into reactive mode. And when you react, you are no longer the author. You are the instrument. Here's a truth few dare to face. Most people speak quickly, not because they know more, but because they're trying to prove something. They fear being interrupted, fear there won't be enough space to express themselves, fear being left behind. And they think that speaking faster, replying quicker, deciding sooner will earn more respect. But they don't realize that the more they speed up, the more they drain themselves, the more they lose depth, and the more others perceive them as a passing breeze, not as a still force that carries weight. I saw this truth unfold clearly when I watched my father in a negotiation. The buyers arrived with tight schedules, rapid speech, hands pointing non-stop. They created pressure with time, trying to force him into urgency, rushing to decide, to sign, and to make mistakes. But he didn't step into their rhythm. When they asked a question, he paused for 3 seconds before answering. When they requested documents, he stood up slowly, calmly, moving as if nothing was urgent. When reading the contract, he read every line, no rushing, no skipping details. And within an hour, I witnessed the entire room change its tempo. They stopped interrupting. They stopped checking their watches. They waited for him to speak, to read, to move. From someone who seemed too slow, he became the one setting the rhythm for the entire game. That was one of the first times I understood. Slowness isn't delay. Slowness is control. Being slow doesn't mean you're late to react. It means you choose not to react immediately, so you can discern what truly deserves a reaction. People who move slowly, speak little, and respond later are often those who see deeper. They don't rush because they know that all hurried movement stems from fear. Fear of being unseen. Fear of being left behind. Fear of being worthless if not constantly proving themselves. But a Stoic needs no proof. They simply show up with presence, with weight, without being driven. And when you choose to master your pace, everything begins to change. You walk slower and others step aside. You speak slower and they stop cutting you off. You respond slower and suddenly they listen to your answer as if it carries more value. Timely slowness is like a period in a sentence. It creates space, it creates depth, and most of all, it creates silent authority. If tomorrow you walk into a new room, try walking 20% slower. When someone asks you an important question, count to 3 before answering. When you reach for something, slow the movement by half. People won't say it aloud, but they'll feel something shift. Something that makes them look at you a second longer. Something that stops them from rushing you. Because your pace has risen above their position. Silent power always begins with slowness, because in the modern world, where everyone is running, the one who walks slowly is the only one who still knows where they're going. Not because they arrive faster, but because they know the destination, and someone like that doesn't need to shout to be heard. They just need to enter with weight, and respect will come to them on its own. 2. Claim your space without apology. When you start adjusting your pace, you haven't fully reclaimed your power. You've only gotten others to notice. But to make them cautious, to change how they treat you, to stop them from acting like you're an afterthought in the room, you need to take one step further. Step into that space and claim it. No apology, no hesitation. No retreat, no shrinking out of fear that you're taking up too much. Because the truth is, most people aren't pushed to the sidelines because they're weak. They pull themselves there. They sit at the edge of the chair like they're about to leave. They hunch their shoulders, tuck their arms in, place their belongings neatly in a corner. They move aside even when it's unnecessary. They lean into the wall to give way to people who bring nothing but volume. And they do all this because of a tiny, nearly invisible thought. I don't want to be a bother. But being a bother is a concept that doesn't exist for those who know their worth. Someone worthy of respect doesn't apologize for their presence. They don't walk in intending to dominate, but they don't enter with the posture of someone waiting to be accepted either. Stoics don't seek space, they become the space. Their presence doesn't depend on permission. They don't need an invitation to feel entitled to be there. They carry a clear understanding. If I enter with steadiness, then this place must recalibrate its balance of power. And it all begins with the body. With how you sit, with how you stand, with whether your hands rest calmly on the table or stay clenched in your lap. with whether you walk into the center of the room or silently claim a corner and vanish into it. I lived for a long time with my head down. I once believed that shrinking was a virtue, that humility meant not bothering anyone, not being in the way, not taking up space. I used to attend meetings and sit at the edge of the table, compressing my laptop, phone, and even my water glass into the smallest space possible, as if not wanting to cause disruption. I used to walk through hallways and automatically press myself against the wall, even though no one asked. These small acts repeated over time built an image. This person is replaceable. This person won't resist. This person doesn't need space. Then one day, I began experimenting on myself. I didn't change my words. I didn't change my tone. I changed one thing. I stopped apologizing with my body. In a meeting, I opened my laptop fully, placed my phone beside it, pulled my chair slightly into the center, and rested my hands on the table as if I were a central part of the conversation. I didn't do anything impolite. I just refused to act like someone afraid. And the world's reaction was shocking. People stopped interrupting me. When I spoke, they leaned in. When I hadn't spoken yet, they asked for my opinion. No one knew why, but they felt something shift. And I felt it too. For the first time in years, I was no longer the one being overlooked. Seneca once wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." The first friction you must face doesn't come from the world. It comes from the thought buried deep inside. I should be a little less. But that's not virtue. That's the residue of old wounds. And if you can't open your shoulders, lift your head, and rest your hands naturally in the space you live in, then you're still letting those wounds dictate your posture. Claiming your space isn't about taking from others. It's a silent declaration. I am here and I am worthy. It's how you shift the room's energy, how you make others move without saying a word. How you slowly restore your value not through achievement, not through language, but by stepping out of the shadow you once created. If you've ever found yourself pressed against the wall in a wide hallway, if you've ever noticed your body curling up even though no one asked you to, if you've ever tucked all your belongings to one side as if you're just a guest in this life, then today, try something simple. When you sit, sit fully. When you stand, plant your feet, grounded like a tree. When you enter a space, walk through the center, not to dominate, but to declare that you're done hiding. Because the person who no longer apologizes for existing is the one who finally gets heard. 3. Look without needing. But power doesn't lie only in how you enter a space. It lies in how you look at the world. A gaze done right is presence done right. A gaze done wrong is a silent confession that you need others to validate your existence. And respect, once it senses the scent of need, quietly withdraws. Because this world doesn't listen to those seeking approval. It silently respects those who need none. A person enters a room, and their eyes instantly lock on to someone as if waiting for that person to acknowledge their presence. That's not a connecting gaze, it's a seeking gaze. And seeking is always weak. In contrast, there are those who look at you as if they need nothing from you, as if they have already seen something deeper within themselves before looking at you. And that's what makes you straighten up. Not because they're intense, but because their gaze holds no pleading. It doesn't beg to be liked, doesn't need agreement, doesn't fear rejection. Stoics understand that the gaze is not a tool for persuasion, it is the natural expression of a trained mind. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." And your gaze is the first embodiment. If you need others to agree before you dare to speak, then you don't have a view. You have a desire to be accepted. If you need someone's eyes on you to feel real, then you're not truly present. You're borrowing validation. And if your gaze is filled with anxiety, checking, fear of being misunderstood, then no matter how upright your posture is, your body is still sending the signal of someone afraid of being exposed. I saw this clearly while watching my sister go through job interviews. In the beginning, whenever she faced a tough question, her eyes would instantly drop, as if searching for answers on the floor. Then, as she responded, her eyes would cling to the interviewer, full of hope, full of yearning for approval, and the result? They cut her off. They changed the topic. They didn't believe what she said because her eyes never fully owned her words. Until one day, I taught her something simple. Treat your gaze like breath. When listening, look at them with real presence, not an intense stare, not shyness, just presence. When speaking, start with your gaze, then briefly look away to think, then return when delivering your point, then look away again. Slowly, she gained control not just of her gaze, but of her emotions. And of course, the results changed. People stopped interrupting. They waited for her to finish. They asked more. They believed her. Not because she got smarter, but because her gaze stopped pleading. You can practice this every day. You don't need anyone else. Just a mirror. Look at yourself for 5 seconds. Don't stare like you're inspecting. Don't look like you're checking. Look as if you're being with an old friend, one who needs no proof and has nothing to hide. Then gently look away and return. You'll realize something profound. The gaze that needs something creates tension. The gaze that needs nothing makes others listen. This is not a tactic. This is the honest reflection of a disciplined mind. Because the eyes don't lie, they are the first leak of emotion. An insecure person may fake strong words, force their posture, but they can't control the gaze. And that's why in every important conversation, from negotiation to debate to deep connection, what people feel first is not your words, but your eyes. Not your content, but the need behind your gaze. Stoics don't run from emotions, they just don't let emotions dominate the eyes. When they look, they don't inspect. When they look away, they don't flee. They look as if they already know what they believe. They look away as if they've already said what needs to be said. And that's what makes others not just respect them, but feel safe around them, because no one wants to face a hungry gaze. But everyone stops when they meet a gaze that needs nothing, yet sees everything. So next time you're about to look at someone hoping they'll understand you, pause for a second and ask yourself, Do you understand yourself yet? Because the eyes aren't just the windows to the soul, they are the silent confession of what you still lack. And if you can look without needing, you'll become the only one in the room, no longer bound by anyone else's gaze. For let silence carry the weight. A gaze that doesn't seek makes others pause, but it is silence that makes them stay. Because when someone can look without needing to be seen, and then remain silent without embarrassment, without lack, without feeling pushed out of the game, the one facing them begins to feel uneasy, not because they don't understand, but because they can't grasp what is operating inside a person who doesn't rush to fill the space. And respect at its deepest level begins with this hesitation. Modern people have a reflex. When silence appears in a conversation, they immediately fill it with meaningless words, with awkward laughter, with a question meant to stall time. They fear silence as if it signals failure. They think that when they say nothing, they become weaker. But Stoics are different. They don't seize attention with noise. They let silence carry their weight, the kind of weight that words often dilute. Because silence has gravity. And in that gravity lies a language no one can fake. Silence is not padding for words. It is the essence. It is the place where others begin to see that you don't react, you choose. You're not rushing, you're deliberate. You're not trying to please, you're observing. I once worked with a woman, a senior manager, firm, quiet, so soft-spoken that new people often thought she had forgotten how to speak. But no one interrupted her. No one talked over her. No one disrespected her. In every meeting, she spoke less than everyone else, but every time she paused, the entire room waited. Once I asked her why she often stopped mid-sentence. She simply smiled and said, "I don't pause because I have nothing to say. I pause so others know I don't need to say everything, only what they need to hear." I didn't understand at the time, but later, after watching many people, I realized only those who are truly grounded dare let silence do the heavy lifting. Only those who aren't afraid of being cut off, misunderstood, or overlooked dare let 3 seconds pass without rushing to fill them. Silence, when placed correctly, can halt an attack, can pull someone back into themselves, can make a noisy crowd reflect on what they just said. And more importantly, it makes clear that you are not playing the game of speed. You're sitting at a different table where the rules aren't measured by volume, but by the weight behind each choice to remain silent. Someone once asked me, "If I stay silent, what will others think?" And I replied, "It's precisely because they don't know what you think that they begin to respect you." Silence makes you unreadable. And when they can't read you, they listen more closely. When they listen, you no longer have to speak louder. And when you no longer need to speak louder, that's when you truly gain control. Don't misunderstand. This isn't a tactic. It's the outward sign of a mind that has moved beyond the craving for attention. You don't use silence to manipulate. You use it as a firm frame so that when you finally speak, every word lands where it belongs. No excess. No shortage, no rush. And in this noisy world, the one who dares to be silent is the one who begins to control the air, the one who can recalibrate others' breath, the one who makes loud people stop and wonder, What does he know that he doesn't need to say? Next time you're asked a difficult question, wait 2 seconds before you respond. When you're about to say something important, pause for a beat mid-sentence. When someone finishes speaking, let 1 second pass before replying. Not because you're slow, but because you're making space for every word to land, and for every silence to echo back. Silence, when coupled with presence, becomes a wall no one dares to pierce with disrespect. Because people interrupt the hasty, but no one cuts through a silence that carries weight. And you, if you truly want to be present as someone who cannot be pushed aside, let silence do what words are too weak to accomplish. 5. Remain still while others shake. The right silence can make a room listen. But if you only stay silent, you'll merely pause others. To make them recalibrate, you need something deeper. Stillness. Because this world isn't just noisy in speech, it's chaotic in behavior. When those around you begin to waver, rush, react, defend, compete, or panic, it is your stillness that signals to them to start recalibrating themselves. Stillness is not passivity. It is the expression of a state that has risen above reactive instinct. A body unmoved in tension is not saying it feels no pressure, but that it does not let pressure decide who it becomes in that moment. And only those who have overcome the fear of being left behind, misunderstood, or outmatched can choose to remain still while everything around them shakes. Marcus Aurelius did not write about stillness as a retreat. He wrote of it as the awareness of one who knows. The cucumber is bitter, then throw it out. There are brambles in the path, then go around. There's no need to argue with reality. No need to tremble at what can't be controlled. If someone is shouting, waving their arms, full of rage, you don't need to mirror them to be heard. Because it's the contrast that makes them pause. I witnessed this not in a book, but in a room filled with tears and chaos. 3 years ago, my aunt was diagnosed with a serious illness. The entire family gathered to discuss treatment. That room on a damp afternoon was filled with overlapping voices, restless footsteps, hands unsure of where to rest. Everyone tried to speak, to control, to push fear away by filling the air with sound. Only one person sat still, my aunt. She never left her seat. She didn't interrupt. She didn't clutch her head, didn't shake her shoulders, didn't need others to see her strength. She just sat there, hands on her thighs, watching each person, breath steady, shoulders relaxed, face unstrained. And something strange happened. Not as a sudden shock, but as a chain reaction. One person lowered their voice, another stopped gesturing, one pulled out a chair and sat, and gradually the room shifted from panic to stillness. Not because someone said calm down, but because one person held still long enough to become a reverse gravitational force. Stillness paired with presence is a unique kind of energy. It doesn't coerce, it doesn't compete, but it draws people back to their true selves, the part deep inside still yearning for calm, still hoping to hear what's right, yet waiting for permission. And you, if you dare to remain still while others tremble, you become an unspoken invitation. Their anger is not a command for you to react. Their chaos is not a signal for you to join. Their fear does not mean you must panic too. In conflict, when others raise their voice, sit still. When they tense up, you release your shoulders. When they gesture wildly, you let your hands rest. And when they expect your rebuttal, exhale slowly and remain as you are. Not to confuse them, but to remind yourself, you weren't born to race with chaos. You were born to protect what matters most, even when it's tested by noise. Stoicism doesn't teach retreat. It teaches standing still without apologizing for being unmoved. It's a form of presence not easily noticed, but one that always makes others reconsider. Because in a world where everyone reacts, where everyone must be right, where everyone seeks the upper hand, the one who stands still without stepping back becomes the invisible anchor for the entire room. And you'll realize this. When you're strong enough to not resist others' energy, they begin to adjust to yours. When you remain still in the storm, you not only preserve peace within, you redraw how people converse, react, and show up. And if you stay firm in that, you won't need to fight for what's right. Because people will begin to fall silent just to hear you even before you've said a word. 6. Finish every movement. When you choose not to react in chaos, the world stops to observe you. But when you move even just a small step and complete it with intention, the world begins to trust you. Stillness lays the foundation of silent power. But decisiveness in every movement is the declaration that you know what you are doing. And nothing earns people's trust more than seeing someone who doesn't leave their actions half done. In a world where everyone rushes, hesitant actions, incomplete gestures, and unfinished movements have become a common language. People walk, but their eyes focus nowhere. Their hand reaches out, then pulls back. They begin a sentence, then change tone. They nod yes, but step away. Not because they mean to, but because they're afraid to commit to the very moment they're creating. And so, every signal they send is tinted with insecurity. But the Stoic is not like that. To them, every action is a statement, and a statement is not written in broken lines. Epictetus once said, "First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." If we extend that, understand clearly what you intend to do, then do it. And once you act, see it through. Don't withdraw halfway. Don't shift course mid-storm. Don't cut a gesture short as if waiting for someone else's permission. I once witnessed the difference between two people with equal knowledge, yet one drew doubt, while the other silenced the room. My mother had knee surgery a few years ago, and 2 physical therapists were assigned to her care. The first, David, had all the certifications, skills, and experience, but he often reached out, then hesitated. When holding equipment, he would shift direction midway. When demonstrating exercises, his hands traced broken lines, as if guessing what came next. No one said it aloud, but I could see my mother growing uncertain. Not with words, but with her glances, her repeated questions, the subtle mistrust in each response. A few days later, Maria arrived, also a physical therapist, but the difference was in how she moved. When she reached out, she moved decisively, without hesitation. When she demonstrated an exercise, her hands traced full, complete arcs, each motion flowing into the next. When she approached the bed, she didn't shrink or look down. She walked with presence. And without lengthy explanations, my mother followed every instruction, asked no repeated questions, held no doubts. The difference wasn't in content, it was in the shape of each movement. One made others decode, the other made them feel secure from the first gesture. Because the human body can read uncertainty long before the ears hear the words. And when you don't complete your movements, you're sending the most dangerous signal of all. I don't trust myself. The danger isn't in a single misstep. It's in repeating half-finished actions until they become your reflex. And then those around you often unconsciously stop listening. They interrupt more. They cut into your actions. They begin to feel entitled to step in because you've never truly shown them where you begin or where you finish. But if you want to change that, you don't need a new language. You only need one thing: finish every movement you begin. If you reach for a glass of water, grasp it in one full motion. No hesitation, no pause. No shifting direction. If you walk into a room, don't sneak along the wall. Walk straight in like someone who knows why they belong. If you speak, finish the sentence decisively. Then stop. No extra fillers like, "What I mean is, maybe you misunderstood. I don't know what you think." Because incomplete gestures reveal an unsettled mind. And an unsettled mind will never truly be respected. People may like you, but they won't entrust you with responsibility. They may empathize, but they won't follow your lead. Remember, silent power doesn't live in the voice. It lives in the consistency between intention and action. A person who finishes every movement, no matter how small, is saying to the world, "I do nothing extra, and I don't leave unfinished what I've started." That's what makes others feel safe, because in that safety they don't have to guess you. They just have to observe. And once they start observing, you begin to lead. So right now, try something simple. Raise your hand and pick up something nearby: a pen, a glass, a book. Do it with one continuous motion, no hesitation, no wobble, no correction. Then put it down with the same completeness. You'll feel something strange. It's not just an action, it's a declaration. And if you repeat this enough throughout the day, your body will start to relearn what your mind once forgot. Decisiveness is the language of self-respect. I used to be the kind of person who walked into a room and immediately looked for a seat on the edge. Not because I had nothing to say, but because I believed that if I stayed quiet, stepped aside, and kept myself neat, people would naturally respect me. But I was wrong. What I got in return were glances that skipped over me, words that cut me off, and decisions made without ever asking for my input. I used to raise my hand to present an idea, then pull it back for fear of being judged. I used to look someone in the eye, then quickly look down, thinking I had overstepped. But the more I pulled back, the more I disappeared. It wasn't until I learned to stand tall, lift my head, hold my gaze, and move decisively without explanation, without showing off, that everything began to change. Not because I spoke better, but because my body stopped asking for permission to exist. If this video touched something deep within you, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future content. You don't need noise to assert yourself, only a presence strong enough to make others quiet on their own. See you in the next video.